Welcome back to Peril Pending, where today we're looking at the Church of Farage. I came across this article while scrolling around the internet one night, inside the Church of Nigel Farageology, from The Nerve by John Sweeney. It's an unusual article. It starts with a little story, it seems, about Reform UK, and then gets into what we want to talk about, the division in the United Kingdom. Let's get into it. The article begins with a tale. The thing about Nigel Farage is, he's a bit of a cult. Reform UK is best understood, not as a political party, but more like my great friends in the Church of Scientology. The church that likes to wear dark glasses, believes that a space alien Satan called Lord Xenu is out to get us, and likewise, Reform UK believe that immigrants are out to destroy everything we know and love about our country, Russia. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Reform UK does not love Russia. It is the patriotic party of Great Britain. But it is fair to say that Reform UK's former leader in Wales, Nathan Gill, has just pleaded guilty to 8 counts of bribery for spouting the Kremlin narrative in the European Parliament. Gill's Twitter profile boasts that he loves my God, my family and my country, not ashamed or afraid to be patriotic. The bribes, however, came from a Russian spy, Ola Voloshin, I think, whose wife, Nadia Bordy, has been photographed with Farage. And to this day, there has never been a full inquiry into Russian influence in British politics. Now on to the real meat of the story. Shortly after the Brexit vote, August 2016, Joswick, a Pole living in Harlow, Essex, was drinking with friends in the town centre when some English youths started a ruckus, and the council's CCTV audio picks up fucking Polish. One of the youths then punched Joswick, who fell back, hit his head on the pavement and died. The next day, I, being John Sweeney, reported the killing for BBC Newsnight and interviewed a Polish friend of the dead man, Eric. He told me, quote, "I don't know if I can mention names, but I mean Nigel Farage. I mean thank you for that, because you are part of this death, and you've got blood on your hands. Thanks to you. Thanks for all your decisions. Wherever you are, yeah, it's your call." In the report that John Sweeney makes, he does make it clear that Farage denies the allegations. Farage wrote in the Daily Telegraph, "It was made clear to Chelmsford Crown Court at his trial that this sad incident had nothing to do with Brexit or hate crime. In fact, the court heard that Mr. Joswick was drunk and had racially abused a friend of the boy who retaliated. I have every sympathy with all concerned." Farage accused me, being John Sweeney, of shoddy journalism. I stand by my reporting that the police had reason to call the killing a hate crime at the time, and that fear in the Polish community after Brexit was real, and the death of one of their own made everything more terrible. I lived through that time, and I know that to be true. Thankfully, John Sweeney says he plans to report for The Nerve on each of the county councils controlled by Reform UK, starting with Warwickshire, and look into the party's affairs in depth. When Farage was in Washington DC in September, he compared Britain to North Korea, and well, funnily enough, it looks like John Sweeney's been there. Undercover and blighty, he says. For all its faults, it's nothing like it. Farage went on to say that he welcomed scrutiny and had never sought to censor any journalist. John Sweeney states that he is looking forward to taking Farage at his word and being welcomed by Reform UK up and down the land, and that's a fact. So the story kind of seems all over the place. What's it actually about? Violence and division. You just saw there the Polish lad, Joswick, murdered Farage's statement, it had nothing to do with Brexit. It wasn't a hate crime either. I'm sad for everybody. We all know how he responded when the Henry Novak situation arose. The Reform leader said in an online video on Tuesday that the public should respond to the killing of 18-year-old Novak with pure, cold rage. One of the worst things he probably could have said. He came out of hiding out of his dirty little hole to spout fury and hatred and then scurried back into it again. Well, what did he say when Jo Cox was murdered? Thankfully, in this article from The Guardian, written by Maria Hyde, links to every single article I'm mentioning here will be in the description, so feel free to read the whole thing. It stated, the first murder is that of Jo Cox, the Labour MP for Batley and Spen, who was murdered outside her constituency surgery during the 2016 EU referendum campaign by a far-right terrorist who shouted Britain first as he shot and stabbed her. She was 41. While other political leaders met the moment, Farage vanished from it entirely. He did not, as he did this week, hire a last-minute Airbnb and use its idyllic rural scenery as a backdrop for an address to the nation. In fact, Farage went to ground for days. When he resurfaced, his deepest thoughts appeared to be with the momentum of his campaign. He's quoted as saying, I think we had momentum before this terrible tragedy. He reflected wanly, when you are taking on the establishment, you need to have momentum. Will no one think of the momentum? 8 days after Cox's murder, Farage's referendum victory speech crowed about doing it without a single bullet being fired. Odd how, when in this case, when he can't use it to stir up division, Farage doesn't seem to care. He doesn't even have the common decency. Well, how about Sarah Everard? The second murder mentioned in this article was that of Sarah Everard, who was kidnapped in London in 2021 by a surfing police officer. He drove her to Kent, where he raped and strangled her before burning her body. She was 33. And on this occasion, Farage did have something to say. We must not allow the tragic murder of a young woman to turn into attacks on men and attacks on the police. Why did he not feel moved to coin a phrase like women's lives matter? As they were crying out to tell people during the febrile time, women had good reason to have lost faith in policing and justice. Less than 1% of reported rapes in England and Wales led to a conviction. 5 years on, only 2.8% of recorded rapes even lead to a charge or summons within a year. When police broke up a peaceful vigil for Everard, arresting and cuffing attendees, Farage does not seem to have made a statement at all. Later, though, he would say, when we saw the Wayne Couzens case, I thought it was horrific. But you know what? You're going to get one bad person in any large group of people. Once again, not calling for riots, not calling for rage, not calling for division, because it would attack the police, I guess. Or how about 2 weeks ago, when 3 teenage boys were spared custodial sentences for raping 2 girls? Nigel doesn't seem to have emerged from the silence that followed the discovery of his $5 million gift from crypto billionaire to make a statement about no-tier justice for women. These days, his slogan is only reform will protect women and girls. Well, will they? Feels like quite a punt. Or how about even just last month? Mohammed Algasim, 20, was stabbed in the neck outside his student accommodation in Cambridge. Farage doesn't care. Farage will only call for these riots, this rage, when he can benefit from it. He's only out for himself. He wants more power, he wants more money, he wants more influence, and he will use whatever dirty tactic he has to get it. He does not care about people and he does not care about this country.